Hello, everybody, and welcome to Business.
Business is a podcast. So we changed outsourcing and more to business. So it's a podcast. It's built for to empower startups, business owners, entrepreneurs, so that you can scale and succeed with your business. And we changed it because we wanted to focus more on that instead of just outsourcing. So we can give you more value.
Yep, absolutely. So, we are here to say if you're an aspiring entrepreneur or a business owner looking to scale, you hit that subscribe button and stick to us. We are new, we are brand new, we are back again. And I miss you, Penny. Hello.
We're brand new. The name is new though,
The name is
but at the
new,
heart
but
of
we're
what
still
we
the same
do,
old, same old.
here,
And hello, it's been
yeah,
a while. It's been a hot minute since our last episode. And what do you think of
it
our
has
new
been
title, our new
set up.
business? It took us a while to come up with that, didn't we?
Yes, it did. It did. We just really wanted to dive into what else we can do for you
That is
guys,
true.
and so yeah, change to business. And Francis, I think with our change, right? With the change that we've done with business, there's also the topic today is also about change, and it's about
That
changing
is
your
true.
mindset to a winning mindset.
That is true. Our topic for today, we've thought of a good way to, what's a good way to open our first episode, and we thought mindsets, because in a way I think during the course of our own business and making friends, you realize that different people are always in different mindsets, right? They are thinking of, well, even some people who are thinking of breaking away from the rat race and coming up with their own plan for entrepreneurship. I'm thinking of starting my own consultancy. I'm starting of thinking putting up my own agency, or taking my hobby from hobby to business. It starts to define how they approach their business, right? Like, oh, I'm scared. I don't know what's going to happen. Should I invest money, time, resources, and what's going to happen if it fails? Everything's a, to be fair, everything is about the mindset. So how should you approach uh your plan to start a business or to scale a business in a winning way? I feel like I just overcomplicated the question, but why not?
I think for me, if I really think about this, because 7 years ago we didn't have any business, right? I mean, I was trying a few businesses here and there, and I know you did too. But I think for me, it happened a little like gradually. It didn't happen like I have a list of mindset, like things that I need to be, and I should like just in one excuse me, in one instance, like be this type of person. I think it did happen gradually for me, and then as time went along and I started reading about how to go about the business, how to I didn't just learn about finance or marketing or selling the product or service. I also it was really important for me to also find out who I needed to be. So I think the very first one that shifted for me was from the fixed to growth mindset. So you remember before I was just like really content on just being able to provide for my kids. And I was really really afraid, and because of my background, I was also afraid of being wrong. Well, sometimes I'm
Yeah.
still afraid of being wrong.
I mean, that's not wrong. But to be okay, let's be fair. Before we continue, I want to run
Mhm.
down the list of mindsets, and I think it'd be fair to
Okay,
find it listed somewhere at the bottom. So you can
sure.
probably find it somewhere there. The different mindsets. But yes, we will go back to growth versus fixed mindset. So we have from employee to entrepreneur thinking, growth
Hmm.
versus fixed
Hmm.
mindset, problem solving
Yeah.
and adaptability, risk taking and decision making, and then resilience and grit. Now, where we were is what you were saying, growth versus fixed mindset.
Mm.
It's not a bad mindset to be, depending on
Do you mean a fixed mindset, or which one isn't
I mean
wrong?
the growth versus fixed mindset stage conundrum, I
Mm.
suppose. It's not neither one is not necessarily a bad choice, right? Like it's a question of stability versus taking risks, right? Does that make
I
sense?
think
Like,
I think I define it very differently,
is
both
it
growth and
different?
fixed mindset. Yeah, a fixed mindset is not really being stubborn about, okay, this is what I want. I'm not gonna change it. I think a fixed mindset really just means is, okay, I'm not gonna change ever. This is how my life is going to be.
Yes.
I'm never gonna progress. That's for me means fixed mindset. The growth mindset for me is
Oh,
really, yeah, is okay. Things are bad right now, but I can learn
I
how
can
to deal
learn.
with
I
this,
can
and I
bounce
can
back
learn.
from
Yeah,
this.
I can bounce back. It's okay if this is
Yes,
if I
but
have a setback or it's a mistake or whatever.
yes,
Then I
but
can just go ahead and yeah.
yeah. No, I'm totally getting you. But I'm gonna say sometimes the fear of taking risks and unknowns and the fear of
Mm,
failure keeps
mm-hmm.
you from a growth mindset. So it's not about,
Yes.
so is it the same thing? Like if you run into a mistake and then you say, "Oh no, this is me. This is how it happens," or you just take it as it is sort of like a fixed mindset. But at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
again, the failure to make a mistake prevents you from making. And we sort of had these discussions over the years, which is why I think, to be fair, that we find ourselves very lucky because we've been each other's
Mm.
sounding boards and arguments against the fears, if that makes sense. Like, there are times when, we keep saying, "You're too safe, I'm too reckless," maybe at times,
Yeah,
or,
at times
uh,
I'm known to be the cautious one in
yeah.
this pair right
And
here.
again, it's not the wrong thing. I'm worried about being too reckless. Like,
Too
sometimes
reckless. Yeah.
you're like, you've already fallen and you haven't even noticed it. So it balances things out. So if you feel that you're not a
Mm.
complete person, find the person who completes you, is the takeaway from that conversation. But so, yes, so going back, your thoughts regarding the growth versus fixed mindset. Learning from failures, not fearing them.
Mm.
Uh
Yes, and knowing that you can actually learn,
yes.
that there's another step, that the decision that you have to make is to want to take that next step.
To you want to take that
What
risk.
do you, yes, what do you want, what do you need to learn, right? What do you need, who do you need to ask, or um for example, I don't know how to do this, but I know a friend who already, like for example, for freelancers, right? Most of the time, like this is what they do. They join communities so that they understand how to be a freelancer. So that's the next step. It doesn't necessarily have to be you just researching. It could be looking at what other people are doing, and then learning from that. But of course, right now with so many information out there, you can definitely learn anything,
Yes,
like
I mean,
anything.
we will keep mentioning, for those of you who say, "Oh my God, I can't afford the resources
The
to
courses, yeah.
learn." Hello, University of YouTube is right there. It's the some people get stuck with, "When I have this, I will do this."
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, when I have the right education, I will do this. When I get the right tools, I
Mm.
will I will be successful. When I get the right connections, I will be successful. Whereas some people just do. They
Yeah.
will try, they will fail, they will try again, they will fail, they will try again, and then they will succeed, right?
I
Sometimes
the
some
one
people. Hmm?
Good.
There was a
Sorry. No, go. Mm.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, there was an episode in Simpsons that I will have to
Okay.
research, like, which episode this was. Like, Lisa said, "I could be a writer. It's just banging out
Why
two
not?
thousand words. It's just banging out 2,000 words, and then all of yada, you have a book." And then she goes, "I'm going to start writing." And that I'm going to start writing. And then the funny thing is, every time she sits down, but I can't start writing without coffee. So she stands up and gets coffee. And then she comes back and says, "Oh, but wait, I can't I can't start writing without a cookie or without a bagel or it just became
Mm,
excuse after excuse until
mm.
never gets it done. And that can be like the fear mindset. I feel like it should be more like a fear versus growth mindset. Who wrote this down? But yeah,
No, because in the personal development categories, that's how they
yes, yes, yes,
categorize
yes,
it.
yes. I know.
Yeah, but I understand what you mean. Sometimes, I think another word for it, well, another thing that could hold you back is analysis paralysis. I think that's how they call it. Like you can
Yes,
plan so much, like you can always plan for things, but nothing beats going through the actual thing to learn. Like for example, the podcast we do, like this podcast we like at the very start, like every single time someone tells me that they were watching the first I was like, we're still learning. We're still
we are
learning.
still
But
learning.
you try to get better and better every single time, and that's the growth mindset, is that you can get better every
You
single
can get
time.
better
uh, you just have
and
to just keep doing it.
yeah,
Mm.
you make and I think it's fair to start moving towards some of the core
Yeah, the others,
mindset
yeah.
set shifts. I feel like it will be the last thing. I feel like it'd been nice to move the start the employee to entrepreneur thinking, but
Yeah,
we are where we are now.
sure.
Because so a lot of this I think we've already mentioned it as well, from fixed to growth mindset or fear versus growth mindset is also now risk taking versus decision making, because once you start to move forward, Gesundheit, because now that once you start to move forward, it's also
Mm.
asking yourself, how much risk should I take, right? Uh how much am I willing to lose if I make a
Yeah.
bet on a decision? Like, and that
And
there's
risk
so many
isn't even
decisions.
just, cash. It's even the time, the effort. How much effort am I going to put into this? How
Yeah,
much
yes,
time?
yes. Yeah. When you start to make a decision to move forward, in nothing comes so easy or for free. Like success is will always be commensurate to the effort that you put in.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah, you can't just go, we will do this, and then expect that the money starts rolling in. No, actually, I
No.
think that's the. So we will come back to that very quickly. If you can remind me, somebody remind me that's a very powerful employee to entrepreneur topic.
Mm.
However, we will go back. Um, the risk when I say risk is commensurate to success. If you wanna win big, you have to go big.
Do you? I would, because you're the reckless one.
I am the reckless one. Yeah, I am the reckless one. But the point is,
I,
it's like
I have a
saying,
different take on this, but you go ahead and finish your thought.
I'll try my take on it. And I feel like we're kind of talking.
Mm.
I feel like we're always talking about the same thing, just like different sides of
Yeah.
this of the same
Yeah.
topic. I'm touching the trunk, you're touching the tail. However,
Okay, go on.
but um, it's like if you spend 10,000 pesos and you put up
Mm-hmm.
as little sari-sari store. So you will do
Mm-hmm.
the
I
same
agree.
amount of effort. You will put in the same amount of hours. You will put in the same face and talk to the same people and deal with the same problems, hardships, people trying to make utang or people trying to steal your idea, competitors. You'll go through the same thing anyway. Why not spend 100,000 pesos success to put up a bigger store. Now, instead of sari sari store, you put up a bigger store, like rent a whole stall so that you can put in more goods and put in. So it will be the same amount of time, effort, res, just bigger amount of resources, but the
Mm.
rewards are bigger.
So this is where I have a different take,
Okay.
because especially if you haven't run a sari store before,
Have you?
managing that, like you use the example, right? Like managing
Yes.
that inventory is different from managing a smaller inventory. Managing a smaller, and you're in that space of just learning how to manage everything. So for me, yes, I understand the go big, go home. That is after you kind of know the basics first. Like even in print on demand or e-commerce, right?
Yes.
Okay, you can put, thousands or hundreds of designs, right? You can test it out if you have the money already. But
Yes.
if you don't have that type of money and you're still testing it out, like, is the website even actually working? Like, if I order this from a print on demand shop, is it actually going to the supplier and is it going to be printed and is the quality actually good, right? Like, my thought on this is you don't have to go big right away. You just have to start. That's my take on it. Now, once you have the basics done, then go ahead.
Yeah.
Like, take the risk, right?
Yeah. No, I think it's, let's try to move to again extremes, and I think it speaks to our personalities, cautious
Yeah.
versus or at least the instincts that we have.
Hmm.
I kind of never said, but I did. If you look at it, I think the biggest factor that is involved with go big or go home, the biggest factor involved with go big or go home is the resource that you can never get back, which is time, right?
Mm.
So, uh, I mean, whatever you do, you can never get it back. So the lesson that you learn from learning it comes with a little bit of preparation, but at the end of the day, and we can agree to disagree, and I do see your points about it as well, that if you
Mm.
bet 20 pesos versus, do those still exist? Yes, of course. If you bet 100 pesos,
Yes, 20 pesos still exists, Francis.
there's coin there, are there coins na?
Yeah, they're just coins now. They're not
They're
like
coins now,
bigger.
right? Like, and
Yeah.
that,
Mm.
anyway. So if you bet 100 pesos
Mm.
and you lost it, it hurts more to, bet 1,000 and lose it.
Mm.
But again, from a risk and
Yep.
reward perspective, if you bet 100 pesos and you won 150 versus if you bet 1,000 and you got 1,500.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still risk and reward. It, like, if you look at it from a time scale of 1 year and you spent 100,
Mm.
and at the end of 1 year you earned 50 pesos, versus if you risk
Mm.
1,000 and then you got back 500, is a far different strategy. Like, if it works, the reward is so much bigger. Now, but that's also saying that if you're risking a bigger amount of money, it should come with a bigger amount of preparation.
Preparation. I
Preparation.
think just to go back to the mindsets and everything, both have risks. Starting small and even going big, both are risks because you're starting something,
Yes.
right? You're betting on putting in time, whatever time it is, whether it's the go big or go home strategy or the start small. You're still betting time. You're still risking time. You're still risking effort. You're still trading time, to be with your family or doing what you know now versus doing something new. So there's still risk taking. I think when you start to scale up, and which I think Francis and I are experiencing right now. Now that we're scaling up, it's also it's always going to be a different ball game. There's still risk. Like for example, a big thing right now is AI. Right, we're risking calculated risk. Training everyone in AI
They're
and
all
and
they're all
thinking what
calculated risks.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I think the initial risk that is involved there is to reject or embrace.
yeah,
If,
reject or embrace or
and then
even be
how
in
much
the
to
game.
adapt to. Because if the
Yes.
question was, nah, AI will reject. And I feel that happened along the lines of, how people refuse to, or company, that era from film to digital, and some companies refuse to, no, film will always be king. Well, guess what? It's not. Uh, I mean, it's not saying that it's not. There's a resurgence. Yep.
Go ahead, sorry.
No, no. What was it? What was that?
No, but it's a decision that we made. Like we know that there are risks. There's pros and cons. Like even the change that we did last year, right? There's pros and cons. We absolutely knew that, but we also knew that after the risk, right? There's a reward.
Yes.
And
That
that
there
comes
will be
with
a reward.
being Yeah,
You
like
can, you
of course
have
you're
to
not gonna
believe
be
that
doing this all
there's
just
a reason for
yeah.
all of this.
Yes, there's a reason that you're actually running after a goal that you know that once after all of these challenges and everything, you'll get your goal, and that goal is much sweeter
Yep.
after all the challenges.
That goes
And
to show
what?
if you really want something, you chase after it because the rewards are much sweeter. That's very, very true. Regardless of the many innuendos that are running through my head right now. Uh,
But as we mentioned, so these are risks, right? You can plan for everything. You can prepare. No, sorry.
a perforation.
You can prepare. You can prepare for everything, but during this journey, you will have to learn how to problem solve and be adaptable. There's as much as I want to tell you that you know you found that real saying that this is a good way to do passive income or a good way a quick rich scheme. Sorry.
Get rich quick
Excuse me.
schemes.
Yeah, there you go. Get rich quick schemes and everything. There is going to be some problem solving
Yes.
involved in it,
Yes.
always. Like as uh, I mentioned this to a friend, one of our friends, previously. When I plan, there's always this. So so when I plan, my head is in my head, in my mind. There's always like, okay, so this one, and then this one is next. But there's always that room, that black spot in my head that I know I cannot plan for. Like you would have to know that you cannot plan for everything, and
Yes.
I see this with other employees too. Like they just wanna keep on planning, and like I'm
Oh,
just
you mean
let's just go ahead and do this.
the mind shift from employee to entrepreneur.
No. The problem solving bit first. The problem solving and adaptability first. That they want, and I understand because they do answer to us, but then you know it's kind of all together. But just the problem solving and adaptability, you would have to know to run with the punches. Like of course, one person is not gonna act like how you expected them to act. So how are you going to deal with it? And sometimes, with us, with Francis and I, he's the creative problem solver, and then
And
I
I
just
also
put
create a
instruction
lot
after.
of problems just so
No,
just
no, that's not true. That's not true. That's not
I
true.
create as much as I solve. No, but sorry,
I
go on, and then
no, I
I'm gonna add
and I
something.
was and then I was telling March, like I'm just uncomfortable every day, and it's not. Yes, it's. I don't look at it as a low point, that being uncomfortable every day. It's more of, okay, I'm uncomfortable, but I'm learning something from
Mm.
this. I'm always going to be learning something, and that's like I like learning something. It's just that I'm trying something new every day. So there's going to be something uncertain. Someone or something is going to happen that maybe will change how I plan things or will change how I should be acting. But then that's feedback, right?
Yeah. Do you feel that in the air? Like, you feel like something's gonna happen. Like, but I will say the other. I worry so much when you hear somebody say you can't fail. It's easy money. It's practically money that comes in. And I worry about the people who fall for that.
Yeah.
Um, because even then, when you say get rich quick schemes, we say if you do this step one, you do this step two, you step three, and watch the money roll in. That's not necessarily true. You they make it sound easy, but there was really like a lot of planning and scheming involved to to come up with a scheme that seemingly makes it happen. And I do see it in a lot of industries. You know how people would say e-commerce is like taking money for taking lolly from a baby. It's not really. I've seen people in e-commerce work. The ones that are really successful have a lot of
Hmm.
resources behind it. There's a
Yeah.
lot. From planning and development to strategy to procurement to marketing, and marketing alone. is a huge budget. You know, for anybody, see right now, and let me tell you, with all the love I can muster, that if you're saying, "Oh, I'm planning to start an e-commerce business," because they said it's the easiest way to get it, it's not. But is it a good business to try to pursue? Yes. Pero but I will say that um I feel like one of the worst mindsets, which I now want to visit, from
Mm-hmm.
employee to entrepreneur, which is essentially what starts all of this, right? Uh, when people say, "I'm gonna go into business," wait, sorry. Can we vernacular? Can we vernacular? Because I kind of need this part to when you meet some fellow OFWs, for example, and they say,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, after 2 years, I'm going to retire and put up my own business."
Mm-hmm.
And I get that the reason why they're saying that is that they put in the time to work, get money for capital, but they kind of think
Yeah.
that that's sort of the
That's all there
plan.
is to it. Like you have money, you can go ahead and start a business. Yeah.
Exactly. Which is worrisome because you've kind
Mm-hmm.
of seen a lot of people do that. And the truth is, if you look at the statistics, every time I worry about when people say uh they watch those business stories. Of course, if
Mm-hmm.
you're putting up if you're running a television show about business and success stories, it kind of makes it look like everybody
Like
who
it's easy. Yeah.
everybody who
True.
who makes the leap from nothing to business, employee
Mm-hmm.
to entrepreneur, student to entrepreneur, it kind of makes it look like everybody who dares to dream
Mm-hmm.
and makes it as a make it as a business is going to be successful, when in
Mm-hmm.
reality maybe a good 90% of businesses will fail.
Yeah. That's very true. So we are, what's going in my head?
Like, I'm so
Are we scaring people?
we're
Are
not
we just
scaring
scaring
people.
people
That's
into
not
going
see, that's
business?
not the truth. That's the thing. But the problem that I see there is so many people there to take the leap.
Mm-hmm.
They take their cake making business, and for a while they will maybe get a lot of orders because they have a lot of people wanting to support their
Mm-hmm.
business, which is great. But then they find out
Mm-hmm.
that it's not just about putting up Facebook page, putting up some cakes, and then the orders will start rolling in.
Yeah,
And then you
yeah, yeah.
start, maybe scaling your business, which is again fairy tale come true. And then you quit your job, and then the problem starts coming in. The need to innovate, which you didn't think about before, new techniques, competitors, and then the orders start to drop, and then people are like, maybe a year or two from them, you're gonna find out that they're taking another job. I'm not taking this out of like real example. I'm making up a real example
Mm-hmm.
as I see it. And then you ask them, "Oh, what happened with your cake?" "Oh, it didn't turn out well. I had some challenges." Which is the funny thing. Challenges are part of the business. Competitors are
Yeah.
part of the business. And you think, if you build it, they will come. No, that's not always the case.
No.
Like, if
Yeah.
you if
Yep.
you have the money, I will build a coffee shop and the people will come. No. And that's the sad bit about it. A lot of people think that as soon as they have the capital, the business will come. When on the contrary, capital and money is the easiest thing to get. Surprisingly,
Mm-hmm.
when you're at this stage in life that you've seen how businesses happen, surprisingly, people who are not non-entrepreneurs or never been, they think that when I get the money, the business will happen, when it's really the opposite. I will say it again, and I will say it with emphasis. You need the right idea, the right mindset, the right businesses. When you have all of that, the money is the easiest. When you have the passion to convince somebody to say, "I'm putting up a business," investors will actually start coming to you, because a lot of investors have money in excess but no idea that they are convinced will succeed. Do you hear that? Person who is listening to this podcast and thinking, "I need money." No, get a better idea.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, you went into this,
Rant.
the transition. For the lack of a better term. No, you went into this, and all of it is true.
Mhm.
And it's because people forget that it's also, there is a shift in mindset. Like, if you're an employee, you only see probably 30% of what goes into a business. Actually, it's not, it's like the product service is just 50%
Yes.
of it. Like, it's just small part of it, and then there's finance, and then there, cash
Mm.
flow, and then marketing, and then sales, and then operations, and all of that. Now, if you want to go into business and to have a winning mindset in business, you would have to have at least some sort of, like, at least an interest in those other parts, so that you can start your business. If you don't, and you
Is
know
it
that it's
even
not
an
your forte,
interest?
hold
Just
on. If it's not your forte, get someone who will do that for you.
yeah.
So what I mean by that is, so we have friends um who's not a developer,
Mhm.
but she has, she does have an idea that she wants to happen. She's seen a gap in the market. So she partnered with a developer to develop their SaaS company.
Mhm.
Actually, we know two people who
We
did
know
this.
two people. We know
Yeah,
quite a few because for some
yeah,
people,
yeah.
um,
But and just to get back to what you said about
yes.
interest, you will have to learn it. Yes. And just so you know, at the very start, Francis and I did learn those things. I went through several
So
seminars. Yeah. I went through several seminars. I'm not telling you to get an MBA. It's not that. You can, again, YouTube, it's there, right? YouTube, or if you want to do the courses, because these people have actually consolidated everything that you need to know. Go ahead and do that. The important thing is, what needs to happen to
mm,
run your business. And it's, when you say run your business, it's not producing the product. It's producing the product, selling it, marketing it, how to price it right, all of those things. Because when you're an employee, you only see the part that you're doing, right? Except if you're probably involved in a startup, then you probably see all the other stuff, and you might have been involved in all of the
mm,
other stuff. But know that you need to know these things.
yes.
Doesn't happen just because you put it out there.
You
So,
know the. Oh, sorry. Keep
mhm.
going. Go on.
No, go ahead.
I was
No, no,
gonna
go ahead.
say, what's interesting is that a lot of people would say, what's the most important part of the business? Is it leadership? Is it the product? Because
Mm,
if you think about it, some businesses have a very original product but never succeeded. Some
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
businesses have a rip-off product but have really, really
Yeah.
succeeded. Some businesses have a good business model but flop because of leadership. The thing is, when you come to the point where a business is made up of several different factors, everything is crucial to the business, right? Like we're not saying that
Yeah.
Zoom failed. Oh, Zoom. That Skype failed, but Skype was in a very, very strong position long to lead the market in video calls and conferencing and all that. But why were they taken over by by a fledgling product back then? Why do so many different things fail? I think I've heard. I don't have the actual examples right now, but some companies have a rip off of a product where the original design uh, is better, but the company is faring worse than something is it the product, is it the leadership, is it the marketing, is it the sales, is it packaging? It's a combination of those little factors, but again, why was I in this tangent? why did I
Because
go
of the
to this
interest
tangent?
in all of the other stuff,
Yes,
apart from the
the
product. Yeah.
interest the
I
interest in
got you.
the other things. The truth is, um you know you will have, uh as a caution to the people who say, "Oh, if business is just like this," it's not. Um, but don't be afraid to jump into the idea of starting your own business. Sure, but but
Mm.
there's that caution. Learn what you need to learn. You don't need to go to business school and go through the whole 4 years. The great thing about the generation that we live in is that information is right at our fingertips. You can learn the basics of marketing, you can learn the basics of finance, the basics of
Mm.
payroll, and then you can decide for yourself, should I pursue learning this or should I hire somebody to get
Yeah.
it to do it for you? Because to be fair, a lot of people, when they bootstrap their business, they have to end up doing a lot of things yourself. And that can be very discouraging the moment you find out that, you know, you had a great idea, you made a great product, you start selling, there
Hmm.
is interest, and everything seems great, right? But the next thing that happens, you find out that you have to file for taxes. And then all of a sudden, you're running away from BIR. And then all of a sudden, you find out that you have to bribe officials. I'm kidding, don't do that.
So let me just recap. I think we still have
Don't
one
bribe
mindset shift
individuals.
that did it. No, don't. So we talked about employee to entrepreneur thinking. We talked about growth versus fixed mindset, problem solving, and adaptability. We also talked about risk taking and making the decision. Right. I think the last thing that we need to talk about is being resilient, being
Yes.
resilient in a
Yes.
lot of it. I think for me, um this has been a work in progress for me, the resilience and grit, because you go through, you won't know that you can actually take on the challenge unless you're right at the face of it. I feel because I wouldn't, like, for example, like, I wouldn't know what I would be feeling if I was in front of the BIR. No. Like,
but I was.
of course you were. I'm saying me, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I've never, right? Like for example, I wouldn't know how to handle, like, for example, one of our leaders being sick and out for a month, knock on wood, right? Because now that at this stage, all of our leaders are already handling their own teams, and as far as I know the overview of what they're doing, but being able to replace someone and pick it up where they left off, like, right away, might will be a challenge for me.
Or the question of, can you
What else?
stand in
Yeah,
if
yeah.
needed?
uh, and I think there are going to be challenges that are more emotionally taxing, for the lack of a better way of saying it. Like,
It is exactly the
and
way to say it. A
yeah,
lot of challenges are very taxing. But I'm cutting you
yeah,
off. I feel like you're leading to
yeah. No, and I think the what I keep going back to is I can only think about the things that I can control.
mhm.
At some point, just so you know, like, at some point, I knew I was compartmentalizing most of my emotions. Like, I was just going through things, but compartmentalizing most of my emotions, and I was kind of, because I can't get angry. I
You
try not
can't
to
or
be
don't
angry.
want to.
Probably don't want to, because I still have things to do.
Yeah.
So
Sometimes you're not allowed to do a
I
lot
don't.
of things, which is that
Yeah.
funny. It's perfectly encapsulated by that you want to break down, but you're the business owner.
Yeah, I know. You can't, because a lot of people
You know,
are
they do the oh by my crook. Yes. You want to
or
break down and
you
then someone,
can't.
can I set up an appointment? Yes, I'll see you tomorrow. And then you go,
Yeah. Oh, that happened to me. I was really sad, and I was crying, but I had a client meeting like 2 minutes after, and I had to, like, make sure my eyes weren't puffy and everything, and it happens. I mean, the business
mm,
still goes on. I mean, even if you have those emotions, the I think the trick really there is, well, for me, is just to focus on the things that I can control. That's for me, and the other thing is to have someone that I can be myself with, which is you, Nox.
Ah, yeah.
No,
Oh,
so
hearts.
no, have no, really have support from friends and family. My family is very
Yes.
supportive. So after all of those things, I still have people that I can, and then of course you. Um, but yeah, it
I like
happens,
how I said
and
people,
that's
friends, and
normal.
family that I love, and of course you. I think I'm a special weird category by myself.
Sorry. Sorry, you're in between. No, no, yeah, because it's gonna happen. It's just gonna happen, and sometimes you're just gonna be surprised that something is going to happen that will test you.
It's I swear it's the most annoying thing. I if I may, the weirdest
No, you may
thing
not.
that I hate about you have a lot of friends who, like I said,
Mm,
have tried to make the leap and they've garnered my admiration. Like, oh my god, you
mm,
went from this to this, that you took
mm-hmm,
your hobbies in photography or your hobbies and made something out of it. And then you
mm-hmm.
find out, like, and then they find out that it's hard, or sometimes you find out that they're actually at the cusp of really really making it, and then you ask them what happened, and then they said,
Mm-hmm.
oh, because any number of reasons, like, I swear, any number of reasons, where they say, I couldn't do it, somebody in the family got sick and I had to take care of them. I was like, wait, so you were willing to give up a huge potential in terms of business because of that. And of course, I can't put myself in their shoes. In a
Mm-hmm.
way, at that time, that's the best decision that they thought that they could do,
Yeah,
because and it's hard to argue when they say, it's kind of hard to argue when they say, oh, it's family, right? Of course, I had to be
yeah.
there for my parents. Of course, I had to be there, which makes it sound like I'm willing to push my parents off a plane to save myself. But really, it's not. Uh, Sometimes, yeah. But sometimes, if you're trying to be cold and
Mommy and Daddy
practical,
Ginto, please do not watch this.
sometimes if you're trying to launch a business and see it through to completion, and you really want to support your brother
Mm,
about it, you kind of say, but there has to be a way around that, which I feel is more, I don't know,
mm,
around planning and foresight as well. Which again, I think,
yeah.
do you feel like if we set off to do our individual things, if Virtua
Mm-hmm.
was Virtua on one side, outsourcing on one side, and Penny and Francis were not co-CEOs, do you think
Yeah.
we would still be? I would like to think that individually we would succeed, but I feel like personally there might have been times when I would have floundered to the point of just giving up the business. Uh,
Mm.
if it was just me, so was it luck, foresight, planning, that there were two people who were, that there was somebody to catch when somebody is flagging, was the idea, but did it I mean, what's your thoughts about that?
I would think that because I know you and I know myself, whether if we go, into different things, I think we will still do well. But I don't
I
think
thought you were
that
gonna
virtual
say
will
you
be
might fail, but I won't.
well, no,
Well,
no, well, no. But I don't think that virtual will be virtual if it weren't for you and
yeah.
me partnering together. Yeah, because I probably would have like cried in the corner.
But you do know what I mean, right? That
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
that
yeah, yeah. Mm.
for some people, it just kind of feels heartbreaking that you can't step in because there wasn't, like a BCP for when something happens,
Yeah.
and therefore there's really no other way to salvage than to let it go. Like, it was a great idea, it was making money, but really there's nobody to helm it. And I think, is it the same thing? Like, I feel like some businesses aren't really businesses, but more like but you don't become a businessman, but you become self-employed. Do you see that there's a difference? Some businesses aren't
If you're
scalable.
too involved in how, like for example, if you were a technical person versus as a leader, right? Like versus as a business owner, those are two different things. I think the self-employed one is very leaning towards like providing the product and service, not really running the business, which is of course the cash flow and
Mm.
all of those things. I think for me that's the difference there.
It
But
it's
just
difference
going
because
back,
of the lack of scalability. That
yeah,
you're the
yeah,
only
yeah,
person.
yeah,
You know,
because
like how a lot of the pandesal bakery businesses
mm,
would eventually start to fail after maybe one or two generations because it's too
mhm,
taxing to consuming. You it has to be you. You
to
have to
do
be
it,
so
yeah, yeah,
invested in it because you wake up at 3 in the morning, make benta at
yeah.
5, come back at 7, start the business again at 5 p.m., go to sleep at 9, and then do the same thing at 3 a.m. again. I don't think I've seen that kind of business like really succeed after three generations because you just can't scale. You can't find the people who would love to do that same thing. Yeah. Anyway, that was interesting. I love how you
I think it was
explore.
interesting because we've developed these things over time. And now we're able to actually look back and really think about, okay, what's changed for us as we've been, running Virtua for the last 7 years. Well, going on 8 at this point. Right? Like it's interesting to see what else we've developed and how we deal about things, about whether it's like from employee to employer mindset, from growth to fix, or problem solving or risk taking, which is still your part of the boat. I think I've gotten a little bit from you on the risk taking part, but yeah, still more you. I think 80% you, 20%
Well,
me.
here's
Uh,
a quick question. What mindset do you think you would have wanted to have developed much earlier on?
Much earlier on, because I think the first one that the first ever shift for me was from fixed to growth. So that really happened like fairly fast for me. I think it might probably be the risk taking one, and it's something that I'm still like trying to learn,
Right.
the risk taking part of things. What about you?
I wish uh I wish I had more honestly I wish I had more uh resilience right
Mm.
from the beginning. I will admit that in the beginning I was more of the what could go wrong, and I was very very affected when things did start to go wrong.
Mm.
If that makes sense, like I wish I was more prepared. I was more prepared between by saying we will start this journey. There will be pitfalls because
Mm-hmm.
without anticipating pitfalls, it hurts harder when you fall on your. It hurts
Mm-hmm.
harder,
Mm-hmm. I
but
mean, it's yeah.
yeah. Anyway, so let's just a very
So
very
what about
quick.
you?
Mhm.
Let's ask the audience, and I'm hoping that they're going to comment on this video. Like, what
Yeah.
about you guys? What is that mindset shift that you would want to develop? So you haven't like our question was mindset shift that we wish was developed earlier, but my question to you guys is, what mindset shift do you want to develop?
Okay. Oh my gosh. I feel like every time that we're about to end, I still have like so many things that I want to talk about. Things still get a
Same.
little bit intense. So I'm sorry about that. But we have come to the end of the line. But thank you so much for hanging out with us in the business. We hope today's episode gave you something to think about and act on.
If you have any questions, ideas, or just want to say hi, you can go ahead and shoot us an email. Our email is BizNest, BIZNEST. And I said Z because Francis corrected me that I should spell it that way. But business at virtualsolutionsos.com. We'd love to hear from you.
And only because I wanted to hear Z with a Z because I hear everybody here say Z. But hey, 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 hey. And please don't forget you can find Business on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Buzzsprout, and YouTube. Subscribe so you never miss an episode.
So until next time, keep building, keep learning, and keep making your mark. See you in the
Thank
next
you.
episode. Bye
Goodbye.
bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.